Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and hoping again that you guys are having an amazing Ramadan. Subhanallah, these days are the best of days and the nights are the best of nights. Subhanallah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he states that if you sleep in this month, even your sleep is counted as worship. So get as much rest as you can, study hard, download some information to your brain and get yourself to another level, because subhanallah, at the end of the day, these days are very special. It's an opportunity for us to take ourselves and develop our opportunities to become something really, really special. And our weaknesses to become opportunities for us to develop to another level. So thank you guys for joining us here again, on this nightly program. I just want to say thank you to all my brothers out there who have really worked on themselves really, really hard and put themselves in a completely different level. And a lot of my people, like my friends who are like Jalal Mughniya, Sayyid Abadar, a lot of the guys that have really, really worked on themselves, Sheikh Muhammad Saadi, Sheikh Aus, all these guys, big part of my life. And I just want to say thank you to all of them for really taking the flag and just planting it in the ground and saying, this is who I am, and I'm going to identify regardless of what the world thinks. I am who I am. This is my identity, and this is what I stand for. And to bear that and to say that to the world is a very difficult thing, because people's tongues are like razor blades. They will cut you really quick. So for anything that we do in terms of we're trying to get ourselves to the next stage, we're just like everyone else, but we've just been given the opportunity to say something in front of a camera, in front of a mic. And we are grateful, and it humbles you to the most ultimate level. So I just want to say thank you guys for doing what you have done, and a lot of the sisters as well, in terms of taking themselves to another level. I really appreciate every woman who stands and says, you know what, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to represent, and the hijab is everything to me. So to the Muslim Ummah, to all the people watching, thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for being steadfast, for taking yourself to the next level. It's much appreciated, and we need each other to grow. So that being said, I just want to have another book for you guys today. And I went more psychological before. I'm going to go something. This is a very special book for me. And it's just a hadith book. And this was given to me by one of my mentors. And it's called like The Scales of Wisdom. And this book is really, really amazing because of the translators and who have taken this time to put into this book. So really very special book. If you want, pick it up. It's on Amazon. Either there's local libraries who have it here. Pick that one up. This is beautiful, beautiful in terms of having into your collection. So guys, tonight, as we see it, how to build a character. And let me just start by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me just get some hasanat from you guys. So أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Now we've talked about, guys, in the nights that we had presented, and the nights that are coming after. I'm going to give you a few other things in terms of what's going to come, but we've talked about understanding discipline. We've talked about self-confidence. We've talked about building mental muscle. And yesterday we talked about the mental, or the day before that, we talked about the mental aspect of the mental muscle and building that. Then yesterday we talked about the emotional aspect and bringing that all the way around to the mind and emotions. And we gave a presentation about the mind, and yesterday we gave a presentation about emotional intelligence. And this is the last part of the series in terms of setting this up. And guys, really pay attention to this one, because it's something that for a lot of us, there's some things missing in our life. And there's like if you are a person who feels a void in their chest, you feel like you're incomplete, you feel like you're always striving, but you're not getting somewhere. You feel weak in front of challenges. You're a person who's depressed, you know, you don't feel good on the inside, this is really a presentation for you. Because at the end of the day, it's when you find your own voice, it's an amazing thing what can happen to you in terms of taking yourself to the next level and being authentic with yourself, no longer having to lie for who you are. And I'm going to give you a code today, and please follow it if you can get there. It's tremendous of just the power and what it can do for you. And a lot of it has to do with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. The Prophet was sent to perfect our mannerism, perfect our character. He is the epitome of the conduct. And he in the Quran says, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Surely if you were hard-hearted, so the Prophet's heart was soft, it was merciful, it wasn't full of anger. He was peaceful with people, but he was very staunch with principle. So on that level, he would be kind. His heart was really soft towards people. And surely they would have fled away from you if you were hard-hearted. That's what in the Quran it states. So Rasulullah is the epitome of character. And I'm going to show you how that works in terms of this streamline. And please follow along. And this is there's about 4 or 5 slides, but they're really packed with information. And tonight, I really ask you to take some notes. If you haven't done so before, I'm going to give you like about 30 seconds to go up, grab what you need to, because if you can get this code down, it's really all about you. And it goes from here to out there. That's how it works. And I'm going to show you how that, in terms of hopefully a final analogy, I can give you the whole aspect of it and every part and connect it as a whole. So here we go, guys. Take some good notes. I think that's about 30 seconds. But Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, let's begin. So how to build character and finding your own voice. Let's start. Okay, so building character has 3 components, and I'm going to give you the equation right off the bat. Then we're going to structure it piece by piece. So the first component of building very strong character is having literally sincerity in the heart. This is the first place you need to get to. And when you gain that sincerity, I'm going to show you the formula of how to get there. And that's the first component. It starts down here. When you're okay and you're emotionally regulated, as we talked about before, and all these guys, all these presentations have somewhere they link. I'm not going to go through to try to explain that, but all I'm saying to you is there's a linkage to everything. So whenever you can emotionally regulate yourself, like we talked about empathy yesterday, and emotionality, and understanding how that you can actually have emotional regulation. You have an equilibrium of balance. And when you can do that, that changes your decision making. And when you're calm and there's chaos all around you, you become the eye of the storm. And that calmness has to do with sincerity and security. And I'm going to show you how that works. So that's the first component. Think about your heart and your emotional state. Second component is about the truth. So you need to have sincerity in your heart. This is the equation. Okay, 3 of them. Sincerity in your heart, the truth on your tongue. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, wisdom is a tree that sprouts in the heart and its fruits manifest on your tongue. Just that alone should just make you really think about how this works. So here to here. Then the last part is wisdom. You need to have sincerity in your heart, the truth on your tongue, and you have to present the truth through wisdom. I'm going to repeat that. You need to have sincerity in your heart, the truth on your tongue, and you need to present the truth through wisdom. Guys, if you can get there in terms of this, you're not afraid on the inside. That means you found your own voice. I'm going to show you how to do that. You've collected the right emotional code. You placed it in your heart. Now you feel sincere and secure. There's no fear. Second, when there's no fear, the truth is easier to say because you're not afraid of consequences. And third, you need to present the truth through wisdom. That's application. The first two are on the inside: emotion, mental. Third is application. That's how it works. I'm going to take you through each one of these, and you're going to see how that builds one by one by one. And I promise you, if you can get there with this, get the right emotions, have the truth on your tongue, and present the truth through wisdom, nothing in this world, I'm telling you, nothing in this world can touch you, because the emotions that you feel, how sincere you are with Allah, that closeness that you have inside your heart, that security that Allah Azza wa Jal says, when a wave overtakes, Surah Al-Luqman, when a wave overtakes them, they pray to Allah with a gut-wrenching supplication. They call unto Him because they've lost control. The fear strikes the heart. And then in the same, one verse later, it says, when Allah brings them to safety, there's no more fear, brings them to safety and gives them back control, what happens? He says, they leave and they forget. How do you get there to when you're in the eye of the storm, you have nothing but calmness, stillness, and absolute confidence in terms of who you are? That's incredible. You're a different human being, trust me. Now, then you can present the truth, present it through wisdom. I don't want to give up a whole thing. Let me take you through step by step how this works. So let's go, guys. Take some good notes. Now, level one. So there's 8 levels we're going to go through. Level 1, and we're going to go deeper in terms of how this works. And then finally, we're going to get to the application part. So the first 6 or 7 levels, okay? The first, 7 levels or 8 levels actually, they're all internal. Then the last level is when you apply. So everything happens on the inside. So the work, guys, it's like the iceberg. The iceberg is 90% underneath the water. You have to work on yourself from the inside out. And then you test your information that's on the inside against the outside, which is the challenge. And then hopefully when that responsibility is on your shoulders, your belief structure can hold it up. That's how it works. But you need to work on the inside. So don't worry about your face in terms of the plastic surgery. If that's the case, then you need, the surgery is really on the inside. You need the plastic surgery on the inside, not the outside. So one by one, here we go. So character. Your character, you have to understand, that's level 1. You got to see who you are. So I'm going to show you how this works. Think of your character as a set of principles and characteristics. Now, your character is actually what? Your first product. What does that mean? That's the first thing that people have to what? Believe in. When you bring, let's say, your kid to me and you tell me to teach them, you're believing in my character, that I have these values and I have these morals that you want to dump into your son. Or someone I trust, maybe one of my mentors. I have to trust them, but I have to trust their character. That's the thing. That's how it works. So I want you to think about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he's standing on Jabal Abu Qubais and he's about to tell the people, if I were to tell you there's a caravan behind this mountain, would you believe me? They said to him 2 names. They said, yes, we will believe you because you are a Sadiq al-Amin. Now the prophet didn't announce that he was a prophet till that moment. Then he says to them, then no, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, meaning I am the prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal. He announces his prophethood at that moment. Why? Because they call him 2 names. So how do you sell your character? You sell your character, the first thing is people have to what? Level 2 is trust. The way you sell your character, and I'm using the word sale here on purpose. Sales has a negative connotation. I want you to see that people have to believe in you. So the way people believe in your character is they have to trust you. So you have to build trust. Now, what happens when they said that to the prophet? As-Sadiq. That's the first name they gave him. As-Sadiq. So that's number 1. To be able to sell your character, you have to be what? Trustworthy. That's number 1. Number two, how do you build trust then? Okay, so from here, level two is now to sell your character is to build trust. How do you build trust? Level three is honesty. You have to be honest. The only way people will trust you is if you say something and you follow through. When there's discrepancy between your words and your actions, meaning there's a space and it contradicts, your words contradict your actions, then there's problems. People will not trust you. And then what happens to your character? They view you as a lower person. And then your product is no longer good. They won't give you opportunity. They won't believe in you. They won't even exchange with you at any level because you've lost that. And what happens, think of a person who's jailed because of their character. That's why they're jailed, because they can't be trusted as a product in the community. So on that level, understand, for you to be able to sell trust, you have to be honest. I'm going to give you an amazing story. And Luqman, alayhi salam, was asked as a prophet. He reached that stage that he could become a prophet. He ascended, and he said that he was offered prophethood. And he was asked, how did you get to this status? How did you get to this level? What did you do on your character? How did you work on your character to get to this level? He gave him 6 reasons, and I'm going to give you just the first one, and it's enough to prove this point. He said, Sidqul lisan, to have a truthful tongue. And I'm going to show you that there's 2 types. Watch what happens here. There's 2 types of honesty. And please pay attention to this because it's so important, okay? There are 4 languages that we communicate through. We talked about them: verbal, behavioral, emotional, and dress. When you tell someone, when you walk up to someone and you tell them, hey, what's wrong? And I gave you the example with my daughter the other day. And they say nothing. The first language, which is verbal, is telling you there's nothing wrong. The second language, nothing, behavioral, there's something wrong. You know that. Nothing. Their expression and their hand movement tells you the behavioral language is contradicting the verbal language. And number 3 is just the way they emphasize their words, that emotion that's coming out with the word. Nothing. That stress on nothing tells you the emotional language is also saying there's something wrong. So 2 languages are saying there's something wrong, and the other language, which is the verbal, is saying there's nothing wrong. So you're getting contradictory messages in one statement. Think about that. So there's a verbal honesty, and then there's an emotional honesty. And I'm going to show you how that works at the end. And when you combine that, it's incredible when all 4 languages are saying the same thing. There's no contradiction in terms of my tongue, my behavior, and my emotion. That's incredible. Now, even dress can contradict in terms of the verbal to somebody, the way they dress. Let's say, I'm not going to go there. I'll just leave it for next time. But on that level, this is internal honesty. I'm going to show you what external honesty is at the end. But you have to work on your internal honesty first. Okay? So to build trust and to sell your character, that's what you have to do. You have to work on the internal side. There's 2 types of honesty, we said. The first one is mental honesty, meaning your verbal aspect. Your tongue has to be truthful. It has to say the truth. But can your heart follow? When it has to speak, and when your tongue has to speak, can your heart follow and hold where you're what? In sync. Your tongue and your heart are in sync, and you're one person. You don't move off the truth. Al-haqqu ma'ali wa aliyu ma'al-haqq. Ali has the truth, and the truth is, Ali is with the truth, and the truth is with Ali. That's incredible. I am the epitome of truth in terms of when I can stand on that level of character. I don't sway. I don't move. I'm not scared. This is the principle. I have to follow it. That's how I work. Now, I'm not telling you that, again, that's why you need wisdom. You need to apply, know when to pull back, know when to push forward. Wisdom is a key in terms of applying principle. Some of us, we make a lot of mistakes there, okay? Now, what's the second level? Emotional honesty. When I'm emotionally honest, I have to display to you what I'm feeling and what the truth is in my heart. That's so important. So whenever I'm having a conversation with someone that's close to me, we go after the emotional honesty. We don't hold back there. That is huge. People hide underneath their emotional honesty. They don't display who they are to you. Now, I'm not telling you you should tell everything all the time. That's why you need wisdom. Sometimes you have to hold back certain information to protect the other person. Sometimes you have to do that. But you need to be emotionally honest. Now, sometimes the languages need to what? Conflict. There's exceptions to the rule too. That was a general rule. So Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, have pain in your heart and a smile on your face. Because I want someone not to see that I'm in pain, because I don't want to hurt them. I want to come in and it says, al-bashashatu hablul mawadda. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, having a cheerful face is the snare of friendship. You can grab friends just by your facial expressions of a smile. It's an incredible, and look into a smile on a neuropsychological end and watch the power of that and what it does. And I'm not going to go into that too far, but I'm just saying to you, your own heart sometimes is bleeding, but your face is cheerful. That's not easy to do. It's pain. Pain is to be able to move from this and just to move it a couple muscles. It takes 17 muscles to smile and 43 muscles to frown. Think about that. So just to be able to do that and have that expression is incredible in terms of who you are as a person. So have that in your heart. So sometimes the languages have to contradict on a specific element, okay? But when they are saying the same thing and you have the truth and you have to present the truth, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says the highest form of al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy al munkar. He says everything you do in terms of your wajibat, going to Hajj, going to Umrah, doing all these things is like a spittle, meaning a drop of spit in the ocean compared to Amr al-Ma'ruf wa Nahy al-Munkar. Meaning to enjoin good and forbid evil. That is also incredible. So on that level, what happens? You as a person, he says the highest form is of that, if you can get this as a person, is to say a word of truth in front of a tyrant. Zainab alayha salam. Our women are impeccable. The character is impeccable. It doesn't move. This person can take your head off in a second. My heart is so grounded in who I am that I don't move. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Do what you will to me. It doesn't matter. When she looks at Imam Husein alayhi salam and she says, and the Yazid is poking with his stick on Imam Husein's lips. And he says, what do you think of what Allah has done to your brother? She says, Wallahi ma ra'aytu illa jamila. She said, she swears by Allah, she said, I didn't see anything but beauty. This is Imam standing up for principle, the truth, verbally and emotionally. Now, how do you create honesty? Number 3, let's answer that question in terms of number 4, drop the outcome. If you want to create honesty in yourself, when you are in a fearful situation, this is when you drop the outcome, because outcomes have a lot of fear. When we are in a state of chaos, most of us are thinking of what if, what's going to happen to me? When I'm in that ship, as Allah says, if a wave overtakes them, they call unto Allah with a sincere supplication. Fear is all around me. Fear is what pushes you to outcomes. It's that connecting factor. The only way we connect to the future is through our mind. We're not in the future right now. We're predicting the future, but we can think about the future. When we think about the future, it's through our mind that we're connecting to the future. But when we have anxiety, depression, all these things, we're constantly thinking of outcomes. What if, what if, what if? Think of a stressful situation that you've been through. You start thinking of the outcomes and how what? They corner you in so many ways. Now, I'm not talking about positive thinking and reflection. I'm talking about negative aspects, that fear that stops you in your tracks, where you have negative fear, not positive fear. There's positive fear. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ, and the one who fears the state of his Lord. There's positive fear. It's a deterrent. It pushes me away from things. Allah is going to be disappointed with me. I won't do that. That's positive. What I'm talking about is negative fear. When I need to speak and I don't, that's negative fear. That becomes cowardice. There's a difference. So that type of outcome, I need to drop, and I can't be afraid. And in the Quran, it states, وَإِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْقُلُوبِ الْحَنَاجِرِ. Allah says, when it's time to what? Step up for that, the smaller jihad. And you have to step up and you have to put your life on the line. He says, وَإِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْقُلُوبِ الْحَنَاجِرِ. When your heart goes from here and it reaches the throat. Then Allah says, وَتَظُنُّونَ بِاللَّهِ الظُّنُونَ. Now you start having doubt about Allah. Wow. Drop the outcome. وَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Long for death if you are truthful. Watch that verse. Watch what's going to happen here. Death is encompassed for a lot of us with fear. I want you to think, and there's been a lot of things, guys, in our community that you hear tragic news, a mother dying, young brother dying, sister dying, very young ages sometimes. And I just want to tell you guys, and I need your prayers as well. My mother's is having some health, some issues. And I ask you for you guys' prayers and just to keep us in your dua. And it's heavy when a mother who's the kind of the pillar and the main pole within the tent that holds everything up. But she's a warrior. She was like literally giving me a motivational speech not too long ago. And I'm proud to be part of that woman. So if you have a mother that's that you haven't talked to, or you haven't called or just say hello to, like today, I would strongly advise you just pick up the phone like right after this presentation and just say, Mom, I love you. It's incredible. So please do that if your mother's alive. If not, just say the Fatiha for her, for her passing, and may God protect you and protect your parents, inshallah, within the whole community. But at the end of the day, long for death if you are truthful. When you long for death, it means you drop the fear. Death is an outcome. When you drop the outcome, what happens to your honesty? You stop fearing consequence. So drop the fear, drop the outcome, you'll become more honest. That's step 4. Now, what happens here is so crucial. What happens when you drop the outcome and you look at Allah and you say, Ya Allah, I am me and you are you. I am weak and you are strong. Munajat al-Imam Ali alayhi salam. Listen to that dua. It's incredible. The way Imam Ali talks to Allah. But on that level, how do you get yourself to such a point where you become secure in a state of fear? This is how you do it. When Imam Ali alayhi salam is walking towards the mosque and he knows he's going to be martyred, he knows it. And he would ask every day, when is the blood of my head going to cover the blood is going to cover my beard? He knows when it's going to happen. Imagine waking up for salah, knowing that you're going to walk towards your death. Can you do that willingly? Willingly. It's incredible that the person who can face death, that's not easy. So think with the next 5, 10, 20 minutes. You're not going to be here anymore. Are you ready for that stage? Do you actually long for death because you are truthful? Are you like that? Or when you think of death, you tremble. Or when somebody talks about death, stop talking. I don't want to hear that. Because it reminds you of where you're going. So what happens when you drop the outcome? You get to a state of tawakkul. Then the second stage, tawakkul, is reliance on Allah. Second stage is taslim. Taslim is letting go of your present moment and giving your responsibility and handing it over to who? Allah Azza wa Jal. We talked about Musa's mother. When she walks towards the river, she can still pull back. She gets to the bank of the river, she can still pull back. She puts the basket in the river. And I want you to imagine the second she lets go. That's faith versus fear. I'm fearful, Ya Allah, but I have you as a protector. That is security. No money, no fame, nothing will ever give you that besides what I just said. No person, no one can touch that. That spot in your heart only belongs to Allah. If you plug that in properly, what happens in terms of the nourishment in your heart, it's just fed everything that's proper in terms of emotion, and it becomes pure and clean. But you got to plug that in first. So now, third stage is ar-rida. You become radi, meaning that whatever the outcome is, I'm okay with. I'm actually happy because I gave you the responsibility of Allah. That doesn't mean I don't try anymore. No, I give every effort, every ounce of energy that I have in terms of getting myself to the next level. But I submit willingly to you. Therefore, I increase in power because I've connected to the absolute strength and power and controller of everything. The last level is al-fana, where all you see is Allah. Those are 4 levels. I'm not going to get into that. Maybe one of these nights, I'll actually talk about that. So now, let's say you're becoming more honest. You're dropping the outcome. You're dropping the negative aspects of things. Long for death if you are truthful. How then, what happens when you drop the outcome? Level 5. When you drop the outcome, you drop the fear. That's what happens in your heart. And this is so crucial because when you drop the outcome, when you're thinking of outcomes and what ifs, guys, psychological studies state that 80% of thought is negative. 80% of thought is negative. So think of when you're going through what if, think of the fear aspect and where you're driving yourself to, and that mental storm that you're creating in your mind. It's a storm of negativity. And imagine what happens to your emotional state. You fill your heart with what? Fear. Every thought has it's like a vase with fear in it, and it's just dumping it into your heart. Every negative thought is like a vase and is dumping it into your heart. It holds fear and it's dumping it into your heart. That's what you're doing to yourself when you're doing these things. So that strength and that conviction, I let go of that and I drop it. Let me give you an example of this in the Quran. When Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, "Idhab ila Fir'aun, فَإِنَّهُ طَغَى." Okay, so on that level, He says, Allah, go to Fir'aun. He's become very arrogant and he's become something who's strayed away from the truth. He says, go to him. Musa alayhi salam responds and he says, I fear that he may rush in punishment. He's predicting an outcome. So he says to Harun and Musa, go. Then Allah responds and He says this. He says, go, I am knowing, hearing. I see the outcome. That's my domain. Leave that to me. Do your part and just go. And watch what will happen. Because وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plan and He plans. And He is the best of planners. He will get you to where you need to go. But where is your heart in terms of faith? Do you have that conviction? Ya ayyuha nafs al-mutma'inna. That itmi'nan is what? The next thing right here. Watch. Now, what happens when you drop the fear? When you drop the fear, now you drop the outcome. And when you drop the outcome, you're dropping the fear. So your heart now is an empty vessel. It doesn't have any more fear inside of it because I've let go of the outcomes and I've handed my responsibility to Allah. And I say, Ya Allah, here's who I am. I'm completely at your weakness. I'm completely at your submission. I'm submitting to you as a person. Protect me in terms of who I am. And I've come to you. And Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, even if you were to put me in the pits of your hell, I will still call on to you. It's incredible in terms of that kind of strength. No matter what you put me, I will still have that connection with you. Now, what happens when you drop the fear? Here's the thing. It substitutes and you flip your emotional code from fear to security. Because now you're dropping the outcome and you're letting go and you're relying on who? Allah Azza wa Jalla. If you can get to this step, if that transformation in it flips the heart, you're precautious, you're using positive fear, meaning you are thinking of the right things in terms of those aspects, okay? You know when that limit is in that threshold, that I'm protecting myself in terms of positive end. But I don't go to the extreme in fear. I use fear properly, that's positive fear. Negative fear is what? When I'm supposed to move and I don't, and I become a coward. Now, and I flip that emotional code and my heart now becomes sincere in terms of who I am. That sincerity is so beautiful. Why? Because it creates security. If I rely on Allah Azza wa Jal, and what? I drop the fear and I create that security. This is what can happen. وَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. I don't care about death in terms of the fear aspect of it now. Death doesn't scare me. I actually welcome death. Imam Ali alayhi salam was walking in the outskirts of the city and there was danger there. And he was told, he's like, by this man comes up to him. He says, where are your guards? He was the Khalifa at the time. Where are your guards? He says to him, he says, if I'm supposed to die today, then I will go today. But if I'm not, then what's to fear? Another more powerful story. Imam Ali alayhi salam is in the middle of battle and he breaks the person who he's fighting, he breaks his sword. Imam Ali alayhi salam looks at him and he says, I won't kill you because I see the fear. The person becomes arrogant. He says to him, kill me. Imam Ali says, no, I'm not going to kill you. Then the person looks at him and he looks at Imam Ali and he says, I know who you are. He says, I've heard that you've never refused a beggar. And he says, now I'm begging for your sword. Give it to me. Wow, what a situation. The heart. Where's your heart? Full of strength, security. Itmi'nan, ya ayyuhan nafs al-mutma'inna. Oh, that secure soul. Okay, come back to me. Imam Ali is longing to go back to Allah. But his protector is what? Watch what he says to the man. Imam Ali lowers his sword, hands it to him. Just think about that for a second. When he does that, the man takes his sword and he asks him a profound question. And he says to him, who's going to protect you now? He says, my death is my protector. Meaning Allah Azza wa Jal has set a time for me. I'm not afraid of it. If it's supposed to happen now, I welcome it. وَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And if I'm not supposed to die, you're not going to kill me. I'm protected. My heart is secure. Dropping the fear. The outcome's in Allah's hands. I do my part and my principle that's connected to Him. I do what I need to do in the moment that connects me to Allah. That's how it works. Now, Let's say now you've gotten your heart to become secure. It has pushed fear away. Fear, by the way, is the cause of most of depression. It's fear of loss. When we feel like we're losing in life and we can't gain, that's what major part of depression is. That. Study that if you wish, but that's where it goes. Now, what happens when you drop the fear? Oh, there's another spelling mistake. But what happens when you drop the fear? Here we go. Watch this. You gain security and turns into what? Sincerity. That security now is in the heart. There's no more fear. I'm not afraid. This is where you find your voice. When you drop the fear and you gain that security, where I'm no longer insecure because I'm fearful. I'm looking at my outcomes and I take my spear of hope and I puncture the heart of fear. Now that's strength. I'm going to get to my outcome and I'm going to do it regardless. Tell me I can't do something. That's inner strength. All of this, again, is on the inside, not the outside. It's all on the inside. That security turns into sincerity. Now I have ikhlas. And if I can get there and connect my heart truly to Allah, it's incredible what can happen. That's level 6. Now, what happens when you gain security? Let's go to the next slide and we'll go from there. Level 7. When you gain security and your sincerity, what happens when you gain security and sincerity? Your tongue becomes truthful. Now you're going from here to here. Why? Why does that happen? Because at the end of the day, when you are no longer fearful of the consequences in the future, as Musa said, I am afraid that he may rush in punishment. There's no more fear. You drop the fear. And when you drop the fear, you have security in Allah, which he relies on Allah, and he goes to Fir'aun. And this person's a tyrant. He can kill you with just one small little command. He can literally take your life in a second. Dropped outcome. Goes with Allah in terms of what he needs to do. Now, when you're no longer are fearful in the heart, you're no longer afraid to say the truth because you drop the outcome, you drop the consequences, and you drop the fear. I'm no longer afraid of the consequences. I gain strength, which is the ultimate level of confidence. And we said about Zainab, when she said to Yazid, says, you will never erase our mentioning in terms of throughout history. Imam Huseini alayhi salam, millions and millions and millions of people each year visit him. You can never remove his dignity, his honor, his respect. Why? Because those are principles, and principles don't change. People change. That's character. So when you implement these things into your heart and then run this emotional and mental code and you apply it through wisdom, it's incredible what happens to you. Now you went from here to here. Now you're presenting the truth because you're no longer afraid of consequences. Most of us lie, by the way, and we become habitual liars because we are afraid to say the truth, because we are afraid of outcomes, because we fear whatever decision we're going to make right now is going to cause us pain down the line. We're afraid of the consequences. Most people who are liars and they become habitual liars because they are afraid to say the truth. This is the antidote. Becoming truthful through wisdom is the antidote. That's the pill. When you could take that every day and work on yourself. And the way you do that is by doing this. Just stop telling lies. Don't say the truth all the time. When somebody asks you something and you're afraid to answer, don't answer. Just don't tell a lie. Start there. Start by not saying what? Lies. Hold back. Be neutral. Then build the courage to say the truth when you need to. But say the truth, again, through wisdom. Every time I say the truth, I have to present it through wisdom. That's power. Because Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, as we said yesterday, I'd rather have a wise enemy than a foolish friend. Think about that. Now, level 7. When you become sincere and secure in the heart, your tongue becomes truthful. What happens when your tongue becomes truthful? Now, your tongue becomes truthful with others because you dropped what? The outcome, as we just talked about. This is level 8. When you drop the outcome, you're no longer afraid of consequences. Now you're not afraid to say the truth. This is step 8. Guys, what I want to say to you, if you can do all these levels and go that far inside yourself and work on yourself to that extent and push yourself, push. Work on every thought, measure it, weigh it, look at it, take account of it before you get what Allah takes account of you. That's a hadith by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا وزنوها قبل أن توزنوا. So on that level, understand that. Weigh yourself on a daily level. Take account of who you are. Look at your day. And now when you speak the truth, there's something that happens in your heart. And that self-respect just ignites in your own heart. You start liking yourself more. That's the first thing that happens. Self-respect. I'm in a state where I have to say the truth, and I stand up and I apply the truth through wisdom, and I get positive results. And I'll give you an example. One person who I was coaching, he's a Christian brother, an amazing person. And I was going through with him in terms of his early development. He's been with me for 3 years. And his early development, he comes and he says to me, I get on the phone and I call him. I just had a feeling I needed to call him. I call him. He's like, Wissam, I was about to call you. He's like, I'm in this position. I just hit someone with my car and I don't know what to do. And it was early in his development. I said to him, I said, brother, you need to understand. If you hit someone, there's responsibility you just left behind. And the responsibility is a lot bigger than you. So he's full of fear now of the what? Consequence. There's a consequence that's waiting for him. So now what happens when he does that? He's looking at his situation. Do I keep going with my car and keep moving forward? And I run away from the fear? Or do I face it? Imam Ali alayhi salam, as we said, he says, when you fear something, dive straight into it. Because the intensity of us running away from it and abstaining from it is greater, meaning the fear is going to overtake you. Then what? Facing it. Fear is like a shadow. Once you walk through it, it's like there's nothing there. It's incredible. It's a lot of mental strength that goes against the fear. Now, I say to him, I need you to learn something. And this is where I started with him. And I said, I need you to gain that security first in your heart. I need you to drop the fear. Let's say you didn't hit this man, okay? And there's nothing wrong. Drop the outcome, that you're going to be okay. And I promise you that you're going to be okay at the end of the day. See, when Allah promises us that I'm going to take care of you. Do what I say. Follow what I want, and I will take care of you. What happens? I removed and I calmed him down. When that happened, I said, now follow your mind. What should you do? Now the truth is coming out on his tongue. He's like, I should go back. I said, make the decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just guiding you. You make the decision. Turns around. And now he's heading back. Wow, what a moment. Think about that. You're heading towards fear. But you're what? Facing it. You know what happens? He walks up to the cop. And he says to him directly, I told him, be direct. He says to him, I hit this man. I'm the one responsible. Facing the fear. You know what the cop says to him? He says, we know who you are. Because when you hit the person, your license plate fell off the car. We ran your plate. Think about that. But you know what happens? The person who he hit got a ticket and they let him go. Why? He faced that fear, but he was sincere in his heart, the truth on his tongue, and he presented the truth through wisdom. And then from there, At that moment, imagine what happens to you when you walk towards the fear and you just hit it straight in its mouth. And you say, you don't own me, I own you. Now that's character building. Imagine what's going to happen to your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-respect. The first thing you earn when this becomes truthful is self-respect, self-care, self-love. You maintain yourself at a higher level because you start becoming whole, start becoming one, and you find your voice. Now, when you drop the outcome and you get yourself secure in the heart, now you've built an emotional code of sincerity. This is now in your heart. Imagine when you go in front of Allah and you're in a state of khushu', you have the ikhlas. You've plugged in the right emotions in your heart that are sincere to Allah. You've plugged that in and you have that security that you are longing for death and you don't care. You've removed the fear, and in your heart is Allah, which He is providing that security for you. No money, no friend, nothing. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. And that day you will flee from everyone, your mother, your father, your brother, everyone, your wife, your kids. No one will be there to aid you. And everyone will have something that will occupy them. Or a suckling mother will drop her child. That day is going to be fearful. Now, when you can get to that point and you have that security because Allah is in your heart. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ. Know that Allah is in between you and your heart. He's in between you and that nafs in terms of who you are. And now He's navigating those little emotional spurts that move you and tell you, you know what? If you go a little bit too fast and then slowly your foot out goes off the gas and you stop at a red light, then you see someone cross the red light, turns out on the other side. That Allah gives you that little emotional state and He pulls your foot off the gas and He injects that little emotion of security in your heart. You're going to be okay. You're rushing and you're trying to get to a job interview, but you're going to be okay. And He makes you feel secure. And you take your foot off the gas and you see an accident right in front of you and you could have been there. Those moments are very profound. Study them. You'll see Allah's fingerprints everywhere in terms of your own heart. When He gets you very close to death and He pulls you back, He says, see that? That's a door of reflection. Reflect about me. Think about me. Put me in your heart and watch the security that encompasses your heart. Watch what happens to you. Fear will run away from you. Talking about negative fear again. So now, what happens when you earn that sincerity and that emotional code in your heart? You have security and you have sincerity, and that's embedded inside of you. Then you go to a mental code of the truth and you find the truth. Now you have that. So you have a emotional code and you have a mental code. Those two are intact. You have the truth on your tongue, sincerity in your heart. Now wisdom comes into place. But now you have to present. Now we go to the last stage. This is level 9, where you have to present the truth. Now it goes to the outside. This is external honesty. If you have worked on all those levels, you will get to internal honesty, where you have the first code, which is mental honesty and emotional honesty. And when those two connect, man, I promise you that no one on this earth can stand next to you. If you can become that brave, to have the truth on your tongue and sincerity in your heart. This is Imam Huseini alayhi salam. This is Imam Ali alayhi salam. These are the A'imma. And why we follow them is because of that. It's because of principle. It's not because we want to just beat our chests and say, no, this is a representation of principle and who I am. I identify who I am. And this is my identity. And I don't sway away from it. This is when I come to you and I say, you know what? Do with me as you will. It doesn't matter. I know I'm going back to Allah. That when the magicians bow down to Musa, they saw the truth and they had insight in a second when they saw the truth. Don't tell me I can't go back to Allah. Allah is waiting for you. He is. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَى. When my supplicator, and he says, "O Muhammad, when my person who's asking you about me, tell them I am near. I will answer the call of the supplicator." If some of us, we lose our emotional state and we move so far away from the road that what happens, our emotional code is so off. And we've done so much bad that we moved so far away that we think we can't come back to the road. Allah says, come back. Even at the last second, last seconds of his life, he comes back to the road. Don't say, I can't or I won't. Just do it. You haven't prayed? Pray. You're on drugs? Every ounce of energy in your body, fight yourself. Fight that fight on the inside. From 1 to 8 to 9, get there. Once you do that, it's so freeing. That's freedom. Freedom happens from the inside, not the outside. It's from the inside first. Have that come into your system. Build these levels and watch what happens. This is why we follow character. We follow principle. Now, who has the best principles and who applies those principles the best? That's the person you should follow. That's why we do what we do. That's why we hold up the flag of the Imams. And that's why we hold up Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because they bring us to the Prophet, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam brings us to Allah. That's the code. It's a vertical code. Now, when you're about to speak, you have emotional honesty, you have verbal honesty, you have an emotional code, and you have a mental code. And now when you speak, now it's about to be displayed to the world. This is where wisdom has to come to place. This is the third level, where you have to be wise when to know how much to say and when to say it and how to say it. This is the expertise of what? Application. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, wisdom is placing knowledge in its right place. That's what wisdom is. So it's application of the truth. When you do that and you set that up properly, it's incredible what happens to you. Now you're about to transfer your emotional code and your mental code to another person. And it happens when you speak. And wisdom, I'll finish this with this, guys. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, كم من كلام جوابه الصمت. Says there's so much of speech, and when people are saying things to you, he says the answer is silence. That's application. That's an application question. He's answering it. But he gives on the other side. He says when wisdom is being exchanged, he says speak so you may be known. Otherwise stay silent like the ignorant. So there's a time to speak and there's a time not to speak. Wisdom dictates that. It's in between that, when to speak and when not to speak. Wisdom is the dial in between. You have to know, depending on the situation you're in. That's how it works. That's the application of wisdom. Now, when you're about to speak, this, guys, is what creates the human connection. Right here. When you have that emotional code and that mental code, here's what happens. When you speak to others, to another person, your truth will engage their mind, and your sincerity will engage their heart. Two codes. So your words are packed with two things. Your truth and what? Your sincerity. Your mental code and your emotional code. Your mental code will hit the other person's mind and it will engage with them properly. Because if you have the truth, and when the truth hits someone's ears, it will talk to their fitrah. It will talk to their natural programming. That Allah Azza wa Jal, وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى حُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. We love to do good. Who put that program in us? That's Allah's fingerprint. Allah's in your heart. His programming is already there. He set your system. Just like a spider knows how to make its web, your heart loves what? Doing goodness for others. On that level, that's Allah's fingerprint. Now, from there, when you speak, Your words are tagged with two things. Your truth, which is on your tongue. Your truth will engage the other person's mind. And then what? Your sincerity will engage their heart. Your emotional code will engage their emotional code. And your mental truth and mental code will engage what? Their mental and logical code. And when those two mix, that's how you have a connection. When those two don't mix, one's going to win, one's going to lose. One's going to be unhappy, one's going to be happy. Get those right. The Imams and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa the Imams alayhim salam and Rasulullah alayhi salam were masters of what I just said. Look back through history. See who they were. Take their principles, take their mental codes, and take their emotional codes, and place them in your heart and in your mind. I want to thank you guys for listening. This might have been a little more time, but if you did listen, I just want to say this for me has been transformational in terms of so many people that have helped me throughout my life. And I just want to say again to them and the people who have mentored me, may God bless you in every which way for every letter that you've taught me and everything that you've given me as a person. And I will always be a student, and I love learning. So be like that and say to yourself, pick up some really good books, get these things, and just keep feeding your mind information and keep feeding your heart sincerity and security through Allah Azza wa Jal. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Habib Ali.